Well, it's pretty clear we're in a world that needs radical change, but if we try and do that without awareness of well-being, we're just going to burn ourselves out, become overwhelmed and not make much of a difference at all.
There are multiple crises all coming together at this time. It's such an incredible, exciting, devastating time to be alive. There's just the ecological crisis and social crises and economic crises are all coming together, and unless we actually are able to come together and take collective action and do that in a sustainable way, then we're not going to overcome that.
I very much believe in intersectional politics, right? You can't separate one from the other. The environmental crisis is connected to the economic crisis, to a political crisis. It's a crisis of solidarity of humanity, and our answer to that, the personal is the political. So absolutely, these are not separate worlds, they are connected issues.
What's new about this movement is that people are now thinking, well, besides just changing the outside world, you also have to change the inner world. You also have to think about who you are, what you want to achieve in your life, how you can personally make sure you're a better person. And I think that's very welcome, because I think it fortifies us for making the big changes that we're going to need to make in the next 30, 40 years.
Bringing the personal and the spiritual into the systemic, into the social, into the political, and recognising that they're not separate, and actually when we bring them together, then we can be more effective.
We need to be able to find a way in which we can care for ourselves, but to care for ourselves, we need to understand all the connections that we have with the world and with all the people in it, and focus in on that as we go into the world.
I think Thich Nhat Hanh says it as well, like what we need to do is to fall in love with the earth again. And you know, if we just imagine what the world would be like if we were in love with the earth in the way that we have been for millennia and living closely to the earth, it would be a completely different place. And perhaps that is really what radical well-being is about recognising that we're not separate from the earth.
In other countries and other cultures, that is there. We've lost that. So in a way, what's radical is that we're having to get back to something that is really inherently normal and is a right that we should all have, not just that we should have if we're privileged.
I really appreciate that some subjects that don't often come up in the wellbeing movement came out tonight, about power and privilege, about deep injustice, about our role within these that we like to turn a blind eye to. Actually, I notice, especially in myself, I'm so engaged in well-being and so engaged in trying to make change that I often don't pay sufficient attention to the damage that I'm doing through my own actions. I kind of give myself a bit of a free pass. And although that was a little bit exposing, I think, for a lot of us in the room to look at, it's so important that we have the courage to have that self-awareness, because it's only from that more aware place that we can take wise action.